Hi guys, just wanted to make a short-ish Terra video just because I greatly enjoy the game. I think you should enjoy the game as well. Also, give me a chance to play a little around with my video editing and whatnot, as I'm still quite awful at that. Uh, Basically, give a little intro to the game, show some of the combat, as it is, of course, non-standard or true action, as they like to label it. Combat just means you don't passively dodge stuff, basically. Um, and yeah. Oh, I'm gonna play around with the UI a little bit as well because that can, as always, be a pain in the ass to customize, and just sort of a couple tips if you're looking for specific things in the UI, so you don't have to go digging for hours. So, somewhat serendipitously, this video starts in the Elven capital because it's a gorgeous city. Looking around here, absolutely exquisite artwork by the art team. Um, a very big fan of this city. Um, and I guess I should, because this is another MMO, I should go with comparing everything in the planet to World of Warcraft. Why not? If you take a look at the mount I'm riding on right now, you will notice that instead of being a shitty single texture, the wings are individually animated. The feathers move independently. Basically, it's just much better visually than World of Warcraft. Still stylized, in a different fashion, less cartoony, more Asian anime stuff, but just visual quality is far higher. Um, Kind of irritating because it has basically the exact same system requirements. Doesn't bog down my system any more at all than current version of World of Warcraft. So, dear World of Warcraft, optimize better or something. So this amazing light wind tunnel that I'm going through is their solution to loading screens, because you fly between major zones. You can run between them, but all of your quick travel, obviously, across continents through the Stargate is basically through Stargates on magic horses. So there's that. Uh, different way to travel. Yeah, so instead of loading screen, you get basically a static animation as you takes about the same length of time once you do your initial loop out of a city. You'll go through a Stargate, you'll load, and then you'll come out of the Stargate. And so no matter where you're going, it's the same length of time, um, minus the outgoing and landing animations. All right, so this is the actual UI stuff, because of course it's always interesting to find. So if you press Alt, so that brings up all your menus, then you can, as you can see, drag and drop pretty much any element of your UI. They're all pretty much mobile. The chat window being an obvious exception, you can move that once you unlock it so it can't be dragged at all, even when you've got the Alt key up. It's also resizable in the bottom right hand as per usual. It's not, however, scalable, which is somewhat distressing, as I don't like giant text in the middle of my screen. Maybe you do, but if you want to change it at all, you can't currently. Hopefully they'll implement that later. Um, the other big thing is your keybinds, because if you actually go to keybinds in the settings, that gets you exactly nothing. What you want to do is go to options and then shortcuts, and this is where you set everything. It accepts a full range of, alt modifiers, mouse keys, whatever. And then the UI settings, you can individually scale all of your UI elements, as well as scale a master UI setting. You can also lock and unlock your mini map here, which is different than the compass, which is the one in the bottom, which you would traditionally refer to as a mini map. They've got the sort of overlay here, which is what they call their mini map. You can also turn on and off the clock, which is quite useful, so you don't horribly lose track of time and say play Terra for 18 hours at launch and not realize it because the clock's not working. Don't do that. It's bad. Um, you can also, some elements only become movable when they're visible, and that's because, say, for example, these cooldowns, you can only move them when you actually have a cooldown running. Um, so that's how you access those elements. Another one that comes to mind is your stamina when it's refilling in town is also movable, but again, only visible when you're actually refilling your stamina. And yeah, that's about it for my UI tips, as it were. On to some actual combat. So this is just going to be some quest mobs, nothing terribly special. I do want to put out a BAMS video at some point, but this will not be it because, uh, well, I'm terrible at this game, mostly. Uh, that ability ever, you just saw it popped out like the sigil over its head. Oh, I love that ability. It's quite brutal. It teleports me behind the target and stuns them, which for an active dodging game is just not good for them. Also, because of, again, this action combat, you saw he's knocked to the ground. That allows me to perform a special move that does a massive amount of damage. It's only available when I have, well, I can try it on anyone, but it'll only work on guys that are on the ground. As you can see, mounts are instant, potentially a little bit of broken, but who cares? And what happens when you don't dodge attacks, as I get clobbered in the face there, is it does a massive amount of damage. You saw that one attack pretty much took off half my health because I didn't dodge it. So I recommend not getting hit in the face. It hurts really bad in this game. Some other quest mobs here. These guys are, well, they just basically have no arms and instead hit you in the face with triangles. Again, a little bit of different fantasy direction given a different culture. But it's still just fine. They're just quest mobs. That's a quest item I've already picked up. A little derpy. Don't worry about it. So what you may notice is that there's these icons popping up, and I'm going to get knocked down because I'm a champion and don't dodge that. Um, the little icons are appearing basically a little bit to the left and not the left, the right and up from my character um, are chain abilities. And what the game allows you to do is when you activate one ability, you can then activate another ability simply by pressing a chain button, in this case spacebar, which will, instead of clicking on or hitting on your keyboard, you can just press your chain ability, and you can do this multiple times. So you can chain one ability into another. So you hit, say, I don't know, sweeping strikes. It's not a real ability, but we're going to call it that. And then just hit spacebar 4 more times, and you'll use 4 abilities that are just chained one off another. Um, you set these in your spellbook. It's a separate tab that's just for setting chains. I recommend looking into that once you got a grasp on your abilities, as a lot of the chains don't make a whole lot of sense and are a little bit silly. But it's a nice tool. It sort of saves you from having to go all over your keyboard, and some just spacebar mashing is going to happen. And that's that guy dead. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. That's combat here. There's again active dodging is the big thing. Reactive stuff. Dodging all over the place. Oh, I guess I should mention that it's kind of hard to tell because I just jumped through that guy, but everything has full unit collision, except for when you're dodging. That allows you, as you saw, I jump out of the way. For the duration of certain dodge abilities, you're just an animation. You don't collide with anything, and therefore attacks don't hit you because those are collision as well. Um, but other than that, you can't actually run through guys, which is kind of neat. It allows you to body block things, and it also allows your teammates to horribly troll you by blocking you into boss abilities, which is, well, I mean, what else do you want in life, honestly? All right, I think that's about it.